Well, it's been a long journey, but we've reached the end of our World War II series. There have been a lot of dates and events that I've not done, but don't worry, I will revisit this period of history in the future. I've also not covered Holocaust history and war crime history that took place during World War II. They deserve their own series, so I will do episodes about them further down the line. Today's final date in this World War II series is September 1945, or 945, the surrender of Japan and the end of World War II. Emperor Hirohito and the Japanese government rejected the demand for surrender because they wanted to keep the position of the emperor. By this point, they had lost all strategically important islands in the Pacific and were losing on the Chinese mainland. The home islands lacked any resources necessary to win back these territories and continue the war. The only way to prevent Japan from being punished like Germany had been punished at the end of the European War was to make the prospect of invading the islands so costly in lives that the Allies would ask for less strict surrender terms. The Allies meanwhile planned Operation Downfall, the invasion of the Japanese home islands. While all this was going on, America also prepared the deployment of its newly created nuclear assets. Harry Truman decided to use the bombs both to end the war without an invasion and to demonstrate the new weapon. Historians still argue whether the use of the bomb was necessary. Japan had already been experiencing non-nuclear bombing that was just as devastating as the bomb itself. However, it was this refusal to give up the emperor that was the clincher. It was also possible the dropping of the bomb did nothing to hasten the end of the war, and it was in fact the Soviet invasion of Manchuria that was the deciding factor. Truman may also have dropped the bomb to end the war before the Soviets could get involved in the invasion of the home islands, therefore being able to claim territory and influence in the Pacific. Today, the debate continues as to whether or not it was morally, ethically, or strategically right to drop the bomb. The bomb was dropped on Hiroshima on August the 6th, detonating over a hospital. On August the 9th, Nagasaki was then bombed, and the Soviet Union also attacked Manchuria on the same date. On August the 14th, Emperor Hirohito accepted the Potsdam Declaration, and later on September the 2nd, Mamoru Shigemitsu signs the Instrument of Surrender on the USS Missouri. Douglas MacArthur then occupies Japan. The Second Japanese-Sino War, and therefore World War II, was now over. The entire war killed an estimated 70 to 85 million people through conflict, genocide, or just civilian casualties. It is the most devastating in history. It virtually ended the European empires and brought forth the American and Soviet empires as world powers. To remember this date, here is the USS Missouri, where the Instrument of Surrender was signed, and then the Japanese representative comes aboard to sign the Instrument of Surrender along with MacArthur. The Missouri then fires its guns to signal the end of the war. From each cannon, the date forms from the smoke left over. September 1945, or 945, the end of the Pacific War, therefore the end of the Second Japanese-Sino War, and World War II as a whole. Thanks for watching this series.